Welcome to another episode of Comedy Wham Presents with me, your host Valerie, and sometime co-hosts Miss Purrington and Mookie. ComedyWham.com is your place to go for features about all Austin comedy. In addition to podcasts, Comedy Wham brings you articles, album reviews, our advice column, Rochelle Takes on Comedy, our upcoming festivals page, and our 2023 FPIA page is live. Keep up with us on Instagram. We're best known for our events page for live shows in Austin, Houston, and DFW, where 100% of the entries you see come from comics and producers. If you want your show featured on the calendar, click the Submit a Show button from the top of the homepage or events page to complete the short survey. It's free and easy. Tag us on your Instagram stories and we'll share your show promo. Want to support these resources we provide? You can donate to Comedy Wham on PayPal, Venmo, or even Patreon. Click the Support CW icon on our homepage to see the ways that you can help us. Now back to our podcast. Launched in 2016, the Podcast Project brings you funny people and their stories. As a fan, I like to delve into a comic's background and motivations, and will almost always take a detour along the way. Consider the interview a way for you to get to know the folks that make the Austin comedy scene one of the best in the country. If you like this podcast, please rate and review us. Today, I am talking to an incredibly talented singer who has her own Spotify channel and has performed for Disney Cruise Line, Disneyland Paris, and more. She's a voiceover artist, and she's undergone several, now I'm going to stumble over this, metamorphoses.
Oh.
I think that's
Tell me more.
Out the big words, but we really like her incarnation as a comic. She's a two-time semi-finalist in the Cap City Comedy Club FPIA contest. The latest one is hot off the presses this week before we recorded. And by the way, that two-time semi-finalist, that is happening after having only entered twice, so yay her. She was on the 2023 Moontower Just For Laughs festival. She's one half of the sketch duo with Holly Hart that puts on the sketch show Austin is for Lovers. She recently debuted her first article for Comedy Wham for our Lori Kilmartin interview from Moontower. And now Comedy Wham presents our guest, Mimi Meier.
Wow, I feel cool.
You are cool.
My metamorphoses.
Yeah.
It sounds like a Hillary Duff album.
So when I research a comic, I will always go through their social media, and a lot of comics have a very limited social media because they refresh, whatever. You have not, so I can go back through your history and I can see your time in Paris. I can see your.
I'm like, should I do that? I'm like, is everyone doing this?
But you're like, it may not be appropriate to say, but you're so cute and you're so fashionable and you just have this aura about you that it's like, this is such a beautifully curated Instagram account. She should keep it.
That is so lovely to hear. Wow. No, I feel like what made me feel kind of like an outsider, I'm starting to realize is what makes me unique and successful in the comedy industry, because like I was never the coolest person, but I'm definitely not boring.
No.
And I have a very unique style, and I'm starting to find that people like that, starting to find kind of my audience and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and when I started working for Disney, I was 19. And, it's that time of your life where you're like, who am I? Who do I want to be? And I remember taking my first Disney contract. I was going to work on the cruise ship. And I was sitting on the plane and I was like, oh, what are you doing? This is crazy. You just signed away 9 months of your life to go on this journey. But it was so good for me because I got to be the version of myself that I wanted to be. Yeah. And it kind of set me up on this track of like comedy and performing and being unique and being surrounded by performers. So everything that I've gone through, like everything in that early Instagram, helped me get to where I am today. So yeah. Oh, that's so nice to hear.
I have a million questions, but I do have an
Okay.
official icebreaker question that I have
great.
to ask you, and that is one word to describe your past.
My past, unexpected.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah. I feel like everything that's kind of happened to me, and everything I've accomplished, it was, I look back and I can't even believe it. Like moving to Austin and being in FPIA and making it through and getting on Moontower and, working for Disney, living in Paris. I never, if you would have talked to me when I was a teenager, I would have said you're crazy. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's all been very unexpected, and
Yeah.
I'm still very appreciative of everything.
Yeah, it's so valuable, and if you have never done this before, I would say write these things down just on a piece of paper, just pen and paper, and fold it up, set it aside, and on a day that you're feeling low, pull that piece of paper out and say, "Holy shit! Look at the stuff that I've been able to experience."
Yeah, gratitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's so important to do because with this industry there's such highs and then there's
Lots of
you do a
lows.
show where you're like, "Oh, I freaking suck." I'm over it. I'll pull out my little piece of paper. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I should definitely do that because I've had a lot of performing jobs where you leave. Like, I used to do children's theater, which will humble you.
Oh, I bet.
When you have a group of children yelling, "You suck," you really need your gratitude.
Oh my God. That's happened to you?
Oh, yeah. I
my
used
gosh.
to. So, kind of how I said that everything kind of has led to the next thing. When I worked for Disney, I was kind of shy to audition for different singing jobs. And when I was on the ship, I had people kind of push me to try different avenues of performing and singing. And so I got into children's theater, which it was a regular 9 to 5. Like we performed 3 shows a day, 5 days a week. And it was so cool that my only income was coming from performing.
Yeah.
And some children's theater shows are so cute and fun, and the kids are excited and they love it, and you're teaching them and you're being so silly. And then there's other shows where they booked the show at a high school and they didn't realize it was a children's show.
Oh.
And so I'm marching around the stage I don't want to do my homework. And these kids are like, we drank last night. Some of us are still drunk. This is crazy.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I did that. But now doing stand-up isn't as scary as the worst
right.
children's
You've dealt
theater.
with that,
So yeah.
You've said once or twice maybe that you were shy, or you consider yourself shy. When you grew up, it's a two-part question. Was comedy a part of your life in some way, or do you remember comedic moments from growing up? And how early did you start being a performer?
I think, growing up, my dad was very, very funny. And what I think is so interesting about my dad being funny, English was his second language. He was from Germany, and he was just so funny. And everyone just gravitated towards him. And I think I just loved, seeing him make people laugh. And then when I started making jokes, I have a very big family. Not my immediate family. I have one sister, but I have 25 first cousins.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my mom is one of 9, and my dad was one of 11.
Oh my gosh.
So I have a huge family. So getting attention was
You better be.
you better
Yeah.
be you got to have something to say or be funny or do something. And so yeah, being funny started in my household, and then my sister started getting into theater when she was a lot younger. And your big sister's doing something, you're like, well, I have to do it too.
Yeah.
Forever. But it's funny because she's not into it anymore, and I'm like, no, I still do it. But yeah, she started doing community theater, and I kind of followed in her footsteps, and I really drank the Kool-Aid. I was totally into it. And yeah, I started listening to comedy when I was younger. So comedy was always kind of part of my life, and performing started relatively young, with theater mainly.
Yeah. And did you do the, drama club
Oh yeah, I
stuff?
did. I did the High School Musicals,
Of
and
course.
I'm performing and the performing world. It's the only time I've really been competitive. Like I played sports for like 2 seconds in high school, and I was like, no, 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 like this is not me. But with like musicals and performing, I was like, I have to be the lead. I have to be. So I would sing and practice all the time and take voice lessons and. Yeah, so I was very active in that in high school. Yeah, and it just kind of stuck. And you can tell, like, even as a comic, I'm still a little theater.
And musical. Like, there's something about your voice, too. Like, there's something where, like,
What do you
I
mean?
can tell
Just
you're...
kidding.
Exactly.
Just like Liza Minnelli. You mean I'm the cat's pajamas?
I remember the first time I saw you was last summer. Such a goofy show, but it was not for your part in it. But the Creek and the Cave did this Mother's Day like best of.
Oh, your
the
mother's
FBI
favorite
yeah.
comic or something.
Yes, because FPIA had just kicked off, and I think Creek wanted to be pseudo-competitive with a contest, and so they did this series. And I saw you, and I'm like, who is this mousy girl with this voice and this bright hair and cute as a button?
Oh, that's
Where
so
did
nice.
she come from?
I'm on stage like, what do you mean? I've always been here. Wait, you want to know what's so funny about that night?
Yeah.
I did that show because the prize, I think, was $100. And I really needed $100. And I was like, I have to win. And I didn't. But after the show, I was like, let's go play some pool. And who did I play pool with? Ben Basunga. And we were like playing pool. We were having a good time. And it was late. And I was like, can you walk me to my car? So he walked me to my car. My car got towed.
Oh my God.
And to get it back, it was $400.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It happens. You have to learn. I just thought it was so funny that I did the show to make $100 and then
You
lost $400.
Oh my God.
But it's okay.
You haven't told me where you're from, where you grew up.
I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Oh, I knew this because we had a little text exchange. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're from the Northeast. You could have gone to New York, but you decided to move to Austin.
Yes. And there's a specific reason.
Okay.
So on the cruise ship, it's so funny because like that like cliche, like everything happens for a reason. Like I met my best friend on the cruise ship. Her name is Angela. She's a dancer, performer, and just the most amazing person. She is from Fort Worth. So her and I were both working for Disney when COVID happened. Like we were on cruise ships separately, which was like literally the worst place you could be. And her and I, over COVID, we would talk on the phone all the time. And she would talk about how she wanted to move to Austin. And then she eventually made the move. And she was talking to me and she was like, well, you should come to Austin. There's so much comedy going on here. I can get you a job. Like she had a job and she's like, I could get you a job here. There's great comedy. And to me, New York is like a big, big commitment, not only comedically, like you want to be really good, but financially. And, I was kind of just drawn to Austin because my best friend was here. She already had work lined up for me. And I don't know, something just kind of made me want to come here. And she kind of helped me get set up for success to be here. So when I moved here, I showed up with a job and a best friend. So
nice.
So it worked out. Yeah.
So you really, other than through her, didn't know anything about the Austin comedy scene.
I had never been here before.
Well,
I'd never been to Texas. I'd never been to Austin. It was a huge, which most people would be like, that's crazy. But how many Disney contracts have I taken where I didn't know anybody?
Yeah.
Literally, I moved to Paris and I didn't know French or any people or
Yeah.
what my life would look like. But I don't know. I like being able to adapt. And I think the challenge of being, when you show up somewhere and you're the outsider, I love finding out how to make it work and how to kind of get into the scene
Yeah.
and whatever surroundings you're in. So I showed up here not knowing anybody, not knowing what to do, and you figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw you 2022. When did you show up in 22 or 21?
I showed up in 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I moved here. My sister and I, we packed up my little Honda Fit. We fit everything in it.
Amazing.
It's like that car is a toaster. Like you could put so much in it. And yeah, I moved here and I just started going to every open mic possible. I would work during the day and literally have my clothes in my car and then just go out to like 3 mics a night. And I would talk to anybody who would talk to me. Like, God forbid you sat at my table. I was going to be like, hey, what's up? Be my friend.
And you had been a performer for, a long time, but had you done comedy up to that point?
In Pittsburgh, I had done some open mics in Pittsburgh, and I immediately was in. Like, after the first mic, I was like, oh, I guess this is what we're doing forever. Like, I just really was so drawn to it. And I did a bunch of mics, and then I did a Disney contract. And I knew that as soon as I got off the ship, I was going to really hit the ground running with comedy. And then this thing called COVID happened. I'm on the ship, and literally I'm watching all of this. I had been writing so much material, just so excited to go try it.
Oh, yeah.
And it just fell apart. And I know there was like Zoom comedy, but being a new comic, I was like, I don't know if I want to learn how to do Zoom comedy because I'm so new. I don't know. So I didn't really do as much. And then, COVID protocols allowed for a few mics here and there. But I already knew I wanted to do it. And I already knew that I needed a change from Pittsburgh. And so I was very, very new into comedy when I moved to Austin. But I dedicated myself to, like, doing as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And over COVID, I listened to a lot of comedy. Like, I think it's so interesting when comics don't listen to comedy. They're like, I don't want to be influenced. And I'm like, no, but you should.
Yeah.
Like, we should learn. So I really tried to study it. And, getting to Austin, I met a lot of people that were like really, really studying it and writing, like being great writers. So yeah, I was newer in Pittsburgh, but yeah.
Do you, it is interesting to me when somebody says, I do listen to a lot of albums and specials and whatever to study. Do you ever, and especially being a new comic, I love asking this question of, have you gone through your experimental stage where you're trying to be this person's voice or that person's voice because it's like embedded in you and you love it as a fan, but you're also balancing with that I'm writing my own stuff. And so it kind of, like I said, you go through an experimental stage where you try to be other people's voices until you figure out your voice.
I think that because I'm still newer, I'm still kind of trying to find exactly, like, sometimes I go on stage and I'm like, oh, that was me. And then there's other times where I'm like, we're still kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
I will switch it up, though, because if you listen to the same comic over and over again, you kind of start to, like, think in their rhythm. It's not even their words, it's their, like, their cadence. And I think there's the bad, but then there's the good with that. Like, when you start to write or listen to, like, a Mark Norman who's very mathematical about the punchline, like, you kind of start to, like, get a really, clean setup and punchline. And so that's good when you're kind of, like, writing in that style. But then if you're listening to Birbiglia, you go a little more storytelling and you kind of take little side trips. So I think listening to the same person can be a problem, but if you listen to a bunch of people, you realize what you like to do. Like, do you like to tell more stories? Do you like to be more dry? What's your vibe? So I do switch it up, because if you listen to Anthony Jeselnik, you just write jokes about dead babies, and then you're like, oh, shit, we should probably switch this up.
Well, he is, I think, impossible to imitate. I mean, he's just...
Oh, yeah. And
oh
he's one of my favorites. He's from Pittsburgh, too.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
I think like a little outside of Pittsburgh, but I always say he's from
Still,
Pittsburgh because I'm like, we're from the same place.
So you're going to go see him in September? I mean, that's pretty exciting.
I would love to.
No, me too.
Yeah, I would love that. I also love... I love listening to other comics because I like to see like what their character is, and his character is so different. He's attractive and he's mean, and most comics are like, I want you to like me, like me, and he's like, I don't give a fuck if you like me, and I'm just, and I love that. I love that character. It's great.
He's now performing at such high levels. Like, when he's coming, I'm pretty sure he's going to be at the Paramount. But the last time I saw him, and the only time, and I debate whether or not I want to see him in a big theater, because when he was at Cap City, this is the old Cap City, I'd never seen a comic do what he did, because at a club, at some point the staff is going to come through and they're going to drop off their check. He full stop ended his set and said, I know you guys are going to be distracted while you're paying your bills and whatever, so I'm just going to do a Q&A. And, he would either answer or say, I'm not going to answer that. And just used up the time until he could get everybody's attention back and finish out his set. And I'm like, oh, this guy's so smart. He's so smart.
He's so smart. I think, I don't know, I might be saying this wrong, but I think he wanted to be a writer. And then he found that he could write, such short, incredible jokes. And I think his, writing intelligent brain, led him to comedy.
Yeah.
Or I'm making that up, but I think that sounds
it's possible.
right.
It sounds like it could be true.
Yeah, that's so... See, like that. Like, if you didn't listen to other comics or go see other comedy shows, you wouldn't know what's possible.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, because I've seen so many comedy shows at a club. I've never seen anybody be that ballsy to say, I know you're not going to pay attention to me.
But that's the character.
Yeah,
he's like, I know.
That's the character.
He's like, I'm smarter than you. He's like,
exactly.
You can ask me a question. And he's not like, oh, where are you from? Like, he's not like doing crowd work. He's like, you can ask me a question. Love that. I think that's so dope.
Oh my God. I would never even think to ask to interview him, because I'm like, no, because it would ruin the persona that you are.
I don't know. Well, I feel that everyone on stage is kind of trying to be maybe something that they're not. Maybe he's probably very sweet, and because a lot of the cleaner comics are like off stage. They're kind of. We can name some names, but the guys that are like, "I never swear." I'm like, but off stage you're a bad man. Because it's fun to be what you're not, you know? Like,
for sure.
Yeah. I don't know.
Stepping on that stage is like, you could be anyone you want.
You could be anyone, doll. Just put your name in the lights.
Okay, so you show up with a best friend and a job, and then you start hitting up the mics. I'm just gonna assume you saw the Comedy Wham events page, and
I did. No, I really did.
To just fucking plug the shit out of it.
I used it, I swear to God, because I liked how you could say, like, do you want to see sketch improv, how you could kind of tailor it to what you wanted to do. Because, like, I showed up and I didn't know anybody, so I literally would Google, like, open mics.
Yeah.
And then it was very neatly laid out.
Thank you.
And so, yeah, I really do think that it was super helpful. So I'm not trying to, like, kiss ass, but, like, when it works, it works.
Yeah. And you were coming in at a time when everybody was coming into Austin. So a lot of people that you were meeting were also new to Austin. So what was that like?
It was like, It was kind of like when everybody shows up to college and we were like, like we were like, I think we raged for like a year.
Yeah.
And yeah, like
I watched you all.
Oh yeah, we were just like crazy. Like after mics, we would go out and we would party till like 4, and it was so fun. And now I am very boring because I was like absolutely crazy, having the best time. Also, we had just gotten out of lockdown,
Yeah.
so not only was comedy back, like people were back, the
Yeah.
world was back, and so. Oh, we went so hard. And now cut to me, I'm a year and a half, I don't drink anymore. I really got it all out of my system. But yeah, it was definitely tricky showing up in the very, very beginning because, you know, as a woman in the comedy scene, you're never really one of the guys. And, you know, it's a lot of like newer guys hanging out. And so I felt that in the beginning, I didn't have a lot of people like chatting with me just because, I don't know, it seems romantic. Like every time I'd be talking to a guy, someone would come up and be like, oh, are you guys together? And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to make friends. And the one person who never treated me any differently was Ray Chenevy. He was like my first friend in comedy, and he's the sweetest person. And I kind of found like my friend group with him, and I found a great group of friends. But in the very beginning, it was a little tricky, but you know, for me, it's you gotta keep being there, and sometimes it's hard to find your way into any situation, any performing contract, you know. But if you stick with it, it'll eventually. They're like, all right, well, Mimi's just around. I guess she's in, you know. She's here all the time. She doesn't shut up. I guess I could talk to her, you know.
And the miles that you put on your car, you know, going from Cap City, and although I guess you could park your car and not get it towed, hopefully, to do Creek, Vulcan. Well, now, you know, it's even more with Mothership and Sunset Strip, Roscoe's, East Austin, South Austin, comedy clubs. I mean, it's so much. And I wonder, with so many new clubs, like, do you end up settling into, I think this is my home club? Or do you say, no, I gotta sow my oats, if you will, and make sure I'm good with multiple?
I think that in the beginning stages, I'm such a yes man, like to any show, like and any experience. But I will say there's certain rooms that you start to do a lot and you start to get comfortable. And also running the open mic at Buzzmill every Tuesday, I feel like I could go up and I could really try anything. And so I'm very comfortable there. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have kind of a rhythm going on, and like I've been kind of doing the same rooms repeatedly. So I'm starting to get like a vibe of what's going to happen there. But I'm very interested to go to other cities and kind of get out of my comfort zone. I did a show in Seattle in October, and it was so cool to like see what that audience was like and see what the crowd was going to be like. Yeah. So I think the minute you start to feel comfortable, something happens, and then you have to start over. Yeah. But it's great.
You do a lot of starting over, though, with, you know, doing the Disney cruise, coming back. Oh, there's nothing to do anymore. The world's shut down. I'll move to another city.
Yeah. I have this very... It's something that I've been trying to work on. It's like a very get up and go. Like every time I'm like, I feel like something has like reached, you know, its ending point. I'm like, all right, well, we got to go. We got to get on a boat. We got to move to Paris. Got to move to Texas. I got to move apartments. I got to do this. But now Austin is the first place where no one contracted me to live here. It was the first place that I chose that I wanted to come here. Yeah. And I picked out where I lived. I picked out what I was doing. So yeah, being here for 2-ish years, it's like new territory that I don't feel like I'm looking at the clock like, oh, it's time to go. I do have dreams of like maybe going to another city one day, but I'm not jumping. I'm not like packing my suitcase to head out anytime soon, which is new. So, because I've made such incredible connections here, and I would be leaving something so great. And I think there's still a lot to learn here. And, I've been working with Holly Hart and working on the sketch show and doing stand-up. So I think I'm still in my education intake phase in Austin.
Yeah. I mean, you're at the 2-ish year mark, and...
Oh, yeah. There's a lot that's going to, you can listen to your first open mic, the recording, and then you listen to it now, and you're like, oh, Jesus. So cut to me in 10 years. We'll see what that looks like.
Well, yeah. I mean, in 10 years, you're going to... Because one of the things, you approached me about writing. I mean, Gabby was our great connector, so that was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But you approached me wanting to, improve your writing skills, or not. I mean, you're obviously writing for your comedy, but a different kind of writing. And so you do, and have always in our short friendship here, strike me as somebody who's always looking to learn.
That is very, very true. And like how I said, how my past is unexpected, I think a lot of us don't realize that we have such potential to do so much more. And, I never thought, Holly approached me about writing the sketch show, and I never thought that I'd be able to write a live stage production. Not just writing the sketches, but writing, you got to write the text. You have to learn how to write a text script, and you got to do props, and you have to direct a group of people on how to perform a show. And I didn't think that I could do any of that. And then after we put ourselves to the challenge, the show went great, and it was so fun, and we got such great feedback. And I was like, we can all do so much more if we put ourselves to a challenge.
Right.
And with writing, I know right now I'm new, but I just love being versatile, and so feeling uncomfortable is good. And a lot of comics, I think with mainly stand-up comedians, I'm like, you'd be such a good actor, like you're so good, and you're in an industry where if you can do a lot, if you can write and act and do stand-up, like you're gonna make more money. And I think pushing ourselves to try other things is really important.
There's a little demon that shows up a lot of times for people, and especially I think stand-up comics that they just think, well, I don't want to fail, therefore I'm not going to try.
Yeah. They'll go to so many open mics and bomb, and I'm like, like
this is what you've been doing, failing, and then 2 years later you're packing out rooms.
It's so true. Like there's so many like comics that I see where I'm like, oh God, I see them on stage and I'm like, you have a great voice. You could be a voice actor. Like you could do so much stuff. And every avenue of performing leads, like it can all help.
Yeah.
Like if stand-ups are taking an improv class, it's going to help them write better because improv makes you think about so many different avenues.
Yeah.
And if you're, taking like, I'm trying to think of other classes, like a sketch writing class or like a clowning class or whatever. Like they all a clown class, you're making yourself look so silly, and that's going to give you bravery on stage to be more in your stand-up. So just because you're taking a class or you're learning more, it's not taking away from stand-up. It's going to add to it. Yeah. At least that's what I think.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. I'm very encouraging of people taking chances and doing something different.
Try something because you have no idea what you might really enjoy.
Yeah.
And it could be added to your act. Like, who knows? So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So you and Holly started collaborating last year on this, and then the Austin's for Lovers was kind of like the product.
Yeah. So her and I, we did, her boyfriend's name is John, and he wrote a sketch show with his friend Doug called Into the Metaverse that was that they did at Fallout. And it was so fun to be on stage and acting again. And because I hadn't done that in a while, it was mainly just stand-up. And Holly and I were having so much fun with it. And she approached me. She was like, we should write a sketch show. And we wanted to do a Valentine's Day, like in February. Austin is for lovers, but it kind of, there's so much that goes into it, and we didn't have enough time, so we're like, let's just make it a sketch show about dating and relationships. And her and I, we started writing a sketch here and there. And what I loved working with her, what I loved about working with her, she's very organized and driven. And we kind of really spread the work out evenly. Nice. And so, there's a lot of stand-ups who approach me like, we should do a podcast or we should write this show. And then it's like, but are you going to help me market? Are you going to make the posters? Are we going to do this? Are we going to do this? And she and I were very on the same wavelength. So we started writing and we pitched the show to Fallout. We're like, I don't know, like we didn't really know what we were doing. And we pitched the show and we found a group of people from her. She was taking an improv class, and we asked them to do the show. And I just can't believe how incredible our cast was. They were so wonderful, and it was such a great experience. And we all learned so much. And yeah, it was kind of something that her and I threw out as a joke, and then it became this whole thing. And I'm so proud of it.
Yeah. And will there be a part 2 or a different incarnation?
I am very excited to keep working. We actually got the show into Sketchfest,
nice.
Which is very exciting.
Congratulations.
So thank you.
Yeah.
We've had to cut the show down a little bit. I think we have 22 minutes. So we are doing a few of the sketches, and we've been doing rehearsals this week, just getting the timing right. So we're focusing on that. That's at the end of June. And then we want to keep writing more. And after seeing all of the shows at Moontower, we were so inspired because we saw, what was the group? Business Casual. And they are there's no props, no costumes, and they were so funny. It's a lot of audio. And so I was like, we should kind of write like this because the less you need prop and costume wise, the more you can focus on acting and physicality. So we kind of want to experiment with some more writing. And, after seeing Stamptown, that was so crazy. Yeah. And we're like, there's so much more out there. So
there really is.
Yeah, I'm excited to keep working. And yeah, I'm glad that we did Austin is for Lovers because I'm I really do enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And San Francisco Sketch Fest should be on your radar.
Yeah. We were even surprised that we made it into Austin. We kind of were I guess we'll submit. So, but yeah, I think there's such a great attitude that sketch performers have, and it's acting and it's comedy and it's everything. So yeah, I think we just want to keep going and see where it goes. Who knows? I don't know. You know me with my past. I'm maybe one day we do Sketchfest in San Francisco. That would be such an honor.
That'd be really cool, yeah. And you both
put that
have
on the vision
credentials.
board.
Exactly. I mean, you both have the Moontower credential and have done the show, getting into Sketchfest. So yes, get it on there on the vision board.
Yeah. I have a big vision board.
Make room for San Francisco.
Very abstract.
Because the Austin scene has grown so much with stand-up, and I think in the before times, it was stand-up and improv, not quite equal, but both close to equal in terms of the people that would do the two, and the people that cross over are great. Sketch has always been the underrated art form, or the unpool of talent version, because
I think it's also sketch takes so much.
Right. It's hard.
It's hard, and you need the perfect cocktail of dedicated people with a comedic background who are also organized enough to rehearse and write.
Yeah.
And so I can see why there isn't as much.
Yeah. But I'm hoping that as the Austin notoriety grows, that it could be like a New York or LA that has a Groundlings or a UCB that, it is known for sketch. So you might be at the forefront of something, you and Holly.
That sounds so cool.
I'm laying on so much pressure.
No, I'll do it. No, it definitely is it's something that I'm new to, but I think there is a market for it because I think with, with comedy, like sometimes things can be so heavy and sketch can be so lighthearted and fun and it's, I don't know. I think it's so great. And then we saw, who else did we see at Moontower? We saw Strong Male Leads, which was also very inspiring because I think it's Brett and Franny.
Yes. Yes, that's the duo. Yep.
So talented, and we got super inspired from them. And I don't know what's gonna happen, but I know that every day someone does something weird, and I'm like, that's a sketch, and I put it in my little notepad. Also, like working in the service industry, I see weird fucking people all day. I'm like, you are a character.
Okay, so you also got into Moontower.
Yes.
This year, which is awesome, which is a
So
byproduct
crazy.
of getting some nice attention from Cap City. And you've been performing at Cap as host, and so good on you for kind of following
you.
that path.
Yeah.
And you obviously learned a lot from Moontower since you just, listed off the shows that you watched and
Oh yeah. Yeah. Honestly, it was life-changing. Like being able to go see all these different shows, see these incredible stand-ups and see sketch and improv and more avant-garde comedy. Seeing like things that I've just never, I don't know. It was incredible and it was such a learning experience and it was so very cool that I was asked to do it.
Yeah.
Very unexpected. But the appreciation is not lost on me. Like even just going to the after parties, I was like, what the hell? Should I be serving you guys? Is there a tray? I could. So yeah, it was really, really cool. And a couple of my really close pals made it on. So we were all kind of like hand in hand, like skipping to shows, like. So yeah, it was really, really great.
Yeah, and you performed. You didn't just learn; you performed.
I performed. I learned, and performing the show that I did 2 shows. One was at the Velveeta Room, so it wasn't too like out of sorts because I've performed there before, so I wasn't like, it wasn't too crazy. And then the other show was Brett's. It was like kind of an improv dating game show at Cap City. So that was fun to do. And yeah, it was really cool. Nice. And I'd never been to a festival before. And I was like, I got to go to more. Because it's just a group of people who all love the same thing.
Yeah.
So like everybody you talk to, you're like, oh, we're friends. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Moontower is kind of top tier as far as making sure the performers have a great time. So, that's it. You're going to get spoiled because not everyone is going to be, super great like that. But, to get your first taste and it's that festival, it was definitely a good one. Everybody else has a high standard to live up to as far as a festival.
Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah. And where this episode is going to release in July, but this past week you competed again in the FPIA contest.
I did, yeah.
You made it through.
I did. It was funny because my night, I didn't really know a lot of the people on the lineup. I knew a couple of people, but yeah, because I've been performing at Cap, I was like, it's just another show. Just go up and really enjoy that you have a big audience that's so excited for comedy and really just, I just wanted to show my personality. Because I feel like with FPIA, it's very, you're trying to show your brand and your jokes and your style and show who you are. And I was like, just go up there and be yourself. And I didn't put pressure on myself. And when I don't do that, I do a lot better. So I had a really good time. Easier said than done.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it was really cool. And I'm so excited I think my night is August 22nd for the second round. So Yeah. Gotta get a new outfit. Gotta get me some new
Oh,
overalls.
no.
Oh no, I hate shopping. I was gonna wear a paper bag.
Imagine if you did.
You would
It
like.
would be the most fashionable paper
It would
bag.
honestly
I
be.
thought, yeah.
I'd still wear red lipstick. So red lipstick, paper bag.
You just talked about, making sure that you went on stage and just wanted to be yourself. Is that a comparison contrast versus how you approached it last year?
I think last year I put this pressure on myself. I was like, you have to advance.
Oh.
You have to do it.
Oh.
Because I don't know, that competitive side in me. Like I said, only competitive in performing aspects, not sports. I was like, you got to make it through. And this year around, it was like, just get a really good tape, just perform and have a great time with the audience and be yourself and get a great video out of it. And if you advance, great. And if you don't, then you know that you had a good time. So I think just the mindset was a little different from last time. Because also the last time I did it, it was my first competition setup. And stand-up, it's very tricky to do for competitions because we're like musicians that are also different, trying to compete for something. So it's a little different this year.
Very wise for 2 years in.
I think what makes us great is that we're all so different, and with a competition, like the audience just might not be into you or whatever, so you just really have to be proud of what you did, and then you can walk away feeling better.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe not great, but like, yeah.
And it's also, even though the contest drags on for 500 months, which that part I kind of miss from the pre-COVID days because
Was it a lot quicker?
It was a lot quicker.
Was there less people?
Oh well, yeah, there was also less people. I mean, it's 25 rounds is what I counted, and before, I don't know, maybe 15 rounds. So yeah, I mean, it's a nature of the changing scene, but I think they also would do it more frequently. Like the gap between last week and when you performed, like it was a whole week. I'm like, why? And obviously they figure out their own schedules, but if you could just knock it out. Also, it's got to be so I feel so bad for the comics that are in the 25th round and they find out early May and they're like, not till end of August.
Yeah, at the end of August is when I perform. By then, God knows what I'll sound like. Brand new 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah. Gives me time to get that new paper bag.
There you go. Is there anything we haven't talked about that you want people to know about you?
That I'm super cool. No,
she
no.
is.
No, I think we covered a lot. I think I'm just so excited to be here and have had the opportunities that I've had, and I'm excited to see where things go, and with sketch and stand-up and everything. So I feel like we covered a lot of ground.
We did. But no oh, you know what we didn't do? We were supposed to do this at intermission. The game. I have not recorded at home since March, I think.
Oh, yeah, you've been at Moontower.
I've been in Moontower, and releasing those episodes slowly. So we're going to do the little card game and then we'll close out. Okay, so this card game, where should we begin? It's an open-ended question, and so you're going to pick a card. I'm going to read it to you, and you're going to answer the question, and then we'll flip roles. Okay. So pick.
It's like, what's your social?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
What is it?
Let me say it slower.
Okay, so which card do you want to pick?
Okay. Let's go this guy.
Okay, all right. So your question is,
is it naughty?
Well, you already answered this, actually, technically.
Oh,
the most humiliated I've ever felt.
Oh. Yeah, Children's Theater's one. Oh, okay. I have a specific story. I was I was doing a show for Chris Castles. He had this, it was like a backyard show, and I was newly dating my boyfriend at the time, and a couple of his friends were at the show. And so I wanted to do good, not only to impress my new boyfriend, but his friends. And I absolutely bombed my face off. And I thought it would be like, it was outdoors, so I was like, maybe I'll get a little vulnerable. And I'll talk about, like, my dead dad. You could hear, all you could hear were literal crickets because we were outside. And you know when a set is bad. You get off stage and when someone asks, like, hey, are you okay? I was like, no, I'm not okay. Afterwards, I think I called, who did I call? I called Heather Keith on the phone because I was so embarrassed.
Oh my gosh.
And I needed to talk to someone. I was like, I am mortified. And she's like, you know what's so crazy? You'll feel this way again. And she's right. So yeah, that's I still think about that in the shower sometimes, just wincing. But yeah. But there will be more.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, dead dads. Ugh.
Yeah, they'll get you.
Yeah, they will.
Not great for a comedy show.
No, not unless you know what you're doing.
Not unless you
'Cause
are.
there are people that.
There are people that do it very well,
Yeah.
but you have to really know what you're doing, or it goes south quickly.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're, I don't know, Tig Notaro talking about, like, she knows how to really talk about heavy topics, but so.
Have you heard of Johnny Taylor?
No. Well, I got to add it to the list.
Add him to the list because he's got dead parents, incredible
Sexy.
storyteller.
Just my type.
He's taken, and so are you.
Wait, you said both of them are dead? Okay, Johnny Taylor.
Johnny Taylor, he's a master at it.
Yeah, I think it's so incredible to see how people can, take a turn and get super dark and then still have the audience. So there's much to learn.
There is.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what I have to suffer through.
Let's see. Oh, I'm excited.
I have an answer for that one.
What's your soch?
It's,
okay. Oh, okay. The last time I was worried that I might be a bad parent.
Ooh. Happens all the time.
I was going to say, you sound like the coolest mom, so
Any parent is always worried about that. Oh, well, probably this week. But it's really not bad. Like, it's so funny. We were having a conversation, and he was like, he's doing college applications, and one of the prompt questions is something about a challenge that you've gone through. And he's like, I really haven't. I mean, you don't beat me. I've never been sexually assaulted. I have a roof over my head. I get fed. I get driven around everywhere.
Wow, what a nice thing to say.
I know. It's like okay. Yes, you're right.
You're like, you want me to rough you up a bit? Like, what? go, like, chop down a tree. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't make him do yard work, so yeah, he's got a good life. No, but he's a swimmer, and he started working at the same place to teach kids
nice
how to swim, and so I'm having to drive him back and forth, and there was like a 1 hour gap between one of his things, and he wanted to come home and have me drive him back, and I'm like, no, stay there. You're taking away so much time from my job.
Yeah,
with the back and forth, and he gave me such the guilt trip, and I felt bad. I'm like, should I, or should I, make him realize that sometimes things aren't going to go your way, and he has definitely learned that things aren't always going to go his way. So, because he's a member of the Dead Dad Club, unfortunately. So it's like
he's in the club.
One major challenge.
Should we have shirts? What?
Yeah, right. Let's do it.
Yeah, And once he goes away to college, I don't know. Is he staying in Texas or not sure? Who knows?
He's applying across the country.
Yeah. He'll find it. You know. You bloom where you're planted. Is that a phrase? People say that?
I think so. Yeah. Sure, sounds good. Let's make t-shirts of that one too.
It's a dad club. I'm an under it. People would read that and be like, what the fuck?
Let's do it.
What does that even mean? Oh, that's so good.
Oh my God, we've gone off the rails. It's official.
We have. I've had so much caffeine. I can feel color. Crazy.
All right, let's go into the home stretch here.
Yes.
One word to describe your future.
Exciting.
I think so.
I think so.
I mean, I think it's also going to be unexpectedly exciting.
I didn't want to use the same word. I was like, can I do that again?
There's people that do that. It's fine.
Can I use a phrase? The cat's pajamas. It's going to be crazy.
All right. Well, this has been amazing.
Yay. I know, I had fun.
That is a wrap on Comedy Wham Presents Mimi Meier. Tell us where people can find you and promote upcoming projects.
My Instagram mostly is at the Mimi Meier. And that's usually where I post everything. And on my Instagram, there's my link tree that leads to my music, my voiceover reels. Anything like that. So, and then Austin Sketchfest is June 25th. That's...
Which just happened.
Oh,
and you had a fabulous time.
Shoot, you're right. You're right. We did so good. Everyone actually loved it.
Yes.
And it's sad you missed it. But check my Instagram for more sketch projects.
For sure. And you have your night for the semis of FPIA.
Yes.
That is coming up.
That is coming up. August 22nd. I'll be getting back from Vegas, so I will be sunburned.
Oh, I was going to say, I will be married.
I will be married and sunburnt. I will be crispy and happy.
Wear sunscreen.
I'm going to wear so much sunscreen. I'm going to
right.
wear like SPF 3000. Look at me. You can see my veins.
I'm worried about you.
I wear an umbrella hat. I will. I'll do it.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed learning about how Mimi got to be the comedic genius you heard today just as much, much as I have.
In quotes.
This has been Comedy Wham Presents Mimi Meier. I'm Valerie, and that's been funny. Thank you, Mimi.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun.